Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realnesss with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, with my co-host,
Melby.
We're here to talk with Lori from the Traitors Canada Season 2. Lori, how are you doing? You did an amazing job. Final 4. Couldn't snatch the win, but what's up? How's it been?
So close, right? So close. How's it been? I'm great. I mean, exhausted. This is such a big week, right? Just kind of processing everything still. But now that we can finally talk, I'm just really excited to be able to tell the stories and kind of go through my memories of everything that happened and just how greatly it's affected my life. So it's really fun. It's really fun this week to process and go through it all.
So from the beginning, Mel and I were kind of, before when we just saw the cast and like who was going to be on, we thought that you would be a perfect traitor. We're like, yes, Lori should be one of the two people that are in the conclave.
100%.
How did you feel? Did you want to be a traitor, or did you want to go into faithful? How did you attack the beginning of the show?
Only my family knew, of course, that I was going. We were huge fans of the show, and we would have these family votes at dinner time. Like, hey, today, how do we feel? Because it's not like moment by moment. You're always kind of like, could I, would I, what would I do best? Like, what would get me an opportunity to get to the end? And as I went, I remember sitting with Kareen and I remember thinking like, yeah, let's go. Like, I think I'd like to give it a try. I'm somebody who is an educator and I would love a position of power. I thought like, let's harness all these beautiful skills I have, but also give me the power. That was until I sat at the round table at the choosing of the traitors. And I just remember having like a full body reaction to like, oh, shoot, like, please don't pick me. I don't think I can do this. I don't know if I can do it. So I was really back and forth, depending on the day. But ultimately, like, of course, watching it back now, I'm really glad I was given the role of faithful.
If you were asked to play again, would you want to try the other side now that you know how you would play as a faithful?
Yesterday, I said yes. I would play the other side. Today, I say no. So literally it changes that fast, right? Like your brain just because the show is over for everyone else. And I'm sure you feel this way too, Melby. Like you keep processing and you keep thinking and you keep going through the scenarios. And I think like that's the beauty. Like we were immersed in a world, right? It wasn't just like, oh, we're just playing this easy game here. We were immersed in it. So I feel like day to day that changes. I mean, and I think that's fair. Like that's valid, right? As you go through this experience, like depending on your capacity, depending on how you're doing mental health wise, depending on what's going, let's just say this week is Christmas concert week. It is the anniversary of my dad's passing tomorrow. It is finale week. There's a lot going through this mind. So the thought of being a faithful today is where I'd like.
Oh, Lori,
what kind of homework did you do? Did you watch all the seasons? You said your family was a fan of the show?
Yeah. And I have a kind of a unique story. My dad passed away last December 7th. It'll be a year tomorrow. And thank you. And it was under very tragic circumstances. And The Traitors was our show. Like we just immersed ourselves. I have 3 kids. They're 10 and 13 and 14. It's hard to find something that all of us can be a part of and all of us like can love, but we fell in love with Traitors after his death. And so my memories of watching Traitors are always going to be like every season. We watched every season under blankets, trying to like grieve together and heal together. It was like beautiful family time. And so that's how I got into the Traitors. And when I got the call, I just thought like, this is so like,
definitely
could not be more bananas that I'm getting this phone call right now. Could not be more, So it was an easy yes for me that I wanted to go through the process and see if I could make the cast. I was so grateful to make it in the end. And my homework, I didn't have the 500-page journal, but I did bring a journal. And I had written down, every mission that had been done in other seasons just to kind of follow patterns. And as I reflected each night, it's like, hey, could this be the mission tomorrow? Like, think about how that one went, because that could be what you're experiencing. I had all my outfits planned out because I was so worried about I'm going to panic and not know what to wear. So I had little pictures printed off. But the other homework I did is I did go into Reddit threads and I did go and do a lot of Googling on who potential cast would be. I know, right?
Smart. That's a good way to do it.
The only, Nick was on my list as a very popular Canadian YouTuber. And my son was a Nick fan, so I kind of knew who Nick was. Melinda, my daughter, actually said, Mommy, I think Melinda's going to be there. I think, yeah. So that was really cool. She had found Melinda online. So I did do that. Unfortunately, Netta did not make that list. Not know about Netta, but I did a lot of homework. I'm a planner and I did a lot of homework.
Well, definitely, like that's like, I didn't even think to try to peruse and see what potential cast would be. So that's definitely great homework to do. Do you don't watch any other reality TV shows other than the Traitors? Or
we watch them all.
Okay, great. So then you recognized Netta when you got to the manor.
We do the Big Brother, we do Amazing Race, Survivor. Like my daughter she's 10 and she's already thinking like, if I start applying now, by the time I'm able to compete, they will have 8 years of knowledge of who I am. So I should probably start that process now. Like we are all in on any type of reality TV.
I'm a reality TV family, so I love that.
Yeah. With for your daughter, I believe Survivor takes people at 16. Is that right?
I think so.
No, I don't know if they have, but I think that you have to be at least 16 to apply. I thought that I read that.
Well, I know there's been some people that started applying young and then they got on the show when they were 18. But I'm not sure. I think 16 might be too young.
Yeah.
Get her started.
Super fun. So would you, if you were to come back and play again, like, would that be something that you'd want to do? Or do you think that this was just like a one-time opportunity that was in perfect timing within what was going on in your life? Or is it something you'd want to try again?
Yeah. So all 21 people in the house heard my famous line that I am a one and done. I'm a one and done. I loved the experience. I truly did. Like I loved it. But that first night, as we walked around that fountain, I was like, you know what? This is going to be a complete experience out of my comfort zone. I went back in my journal and I wrote this is not for me. This world is not for me, but I'm going to play my best. I'm going to do it for my kids. And I'm just going to show up as I do every day as best I can with what I've got. And that's what I did. So, I mean, again, capacity wise this week, I am one tired teacher. Right now, I'm like, nothing more on the plate, please and thank you. This was great. But you never know, right? I'm always open to possibilities that come along in the universe. And Traitors is a show and a game that is so meaningful to me and has provided me with like I say, such an outlet and such a beautiful place to gather community that, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be a for sure no. Let's say that.
How has it been watching it back with your family?
So the first week we actually invited all our friends and family over and we just said show up, you don't need to RSVP, and our house was packed. We had all these people. We celebrated with my favorite candy and we all watched. And as everyone was leaving, they said, so what time next week? And I was like, whoa, so this is going to be like a thing, is it? So we actually had friends and family for 10 weeks. They didn't know they were committing to 10 weeks of their life. Amazing. I knew it. But we had, 20, 25, 30, sometimes 45 people each week at our house. And I think, my mom was there each week with me and she made a joke this week. She's like, or at the finale, okay, speech. And I said, ultimately, I think that's the power in this experience is I was in a place where I didn't know these people and I knew I had surrendered myself to editing and how I'd be portrayed and how other people would see me in the house. You have to do that if you're going to take the chance to go on a show. But ultimately, what mattered was the people in that room. And I wanted to make them proud. Oh, I'm going to get emotional. And I did.
You definitely did. And that's really beautiful.
Yeah, and that is what matters most to me at this point is that my friends and family are so incredibly proud of how I played. And so watching it with them has been a very unique bonding experience for all of us. I think our bond is stronger because of Traitors.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So beautiful. It's like the universe was just like, here you go, Lori. Here's this beautiful healing gift. It's going to bring your family closer. It's going to, give you this platform. Like you honestly, I think, became one of the favorite faithful. Like a lot of the internet, like a lot of people that we've talked to, everybody's like, Lori knows what's up. Lori's got her finger on the pulse. Like you did so well on the show as well. And you instantly became a fan favorite. So, I mean,
Thank you. Yeah. And it was a real, it was that journey of, because that first night I was so overcome by the big personalities and the big names. And I just, I could immediately, and I mean, educators know this world that we undervalue ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
When people say, what do you do? And we say, oh, I'm just a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Right. So I was really aware not to do that because I do advocate strongly for teachers. But there was this stigma. I felt like I was always fighting, right? As, oh yeah, the simple kindergarten teacher over there.
Mm-hmm.
And what I came to realize is that in my true life, I do command presence and I do make my voice heard and I am an advocate and a fierce one and a relentless one. But you go into this community that isn't yours and you play a different role. And it was an awkward role for me. It was not one that I necessarily knew as well. But I still feel like I got a chance to flourish. In the end, I still was able to speak up and say what I needed to say and be the voice of reason. I really tried to be I just hope I wasn't cast as the wise old woman. But voice of reason, I would prefer. Thank you.
Yeah, when you wanted to, focus on the Saints, I was like, oh my God, yes, do it. This is the move. This is the move. And I wanted people to come and go down that route with you because I thought it would have been really fun and satisfying for you to catch a traitor with your theory. But yeah, you definitely had your finger on the pulse a lot of the time, a lot of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that was the thing for me. I remember going into breakfast and being like, okay, so here's what I'm thinking of last night. And a lot of people would just it was a lot of well, this isn't cumulative. Let's just see what happens today. And for me, it was a very cumulative game. Mm-hmm. I was constantly gathering. For me, it wasn't we can't just abandon this thing that happened yesterday and just start fresh. That is not how traders work. So I think that worked well in my favor was to constantly be reflecting. So.
And it's really good that you did that too, because last year, that's how they caught Kuzi. Michael John made her exact mistake. He didn't watch the show ahead of time. He didn't know what mistake he was making. He made her exact mistake and you knew you could pick up on that. So the fact that it kept getting dismissed and not getting chased was, as a viewer, so frustrating because we were just just listen to Lori. She knows what's up. So it was really good that you did pick up on that. And yeah, I'm with you. I think that you have to be able to follow. There's so much that you're not given with the show that you do need to be able to follow the very little clues that are there, right? So
yeah, exactly. And I know, that's what I do in this room every day is I'm a needs noticer, right? I have to notice the needs and I have to be a doer. So there's one thing to just notice what happens around you. It's another whole ball game when you have to notice and do something about it. And I feel for a while I was just noticing until I found my voice a little bit more. And then it was okay, now I notice and do, and that's actually powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So truly, how was your relationship with Cedric? I know that there's lots of love between the two of you guys now, but on the show, it seemed that he was maybe a little bit distracting for you, and you had some words for him. So how did you actually feel about him?
Listen, I am a champion and cheerleader of people in life. I wish nothing but the best for Cedric. I will. If he is in the area doing stand-up, I will be there front row. I will give him a standing ovation. I will do all the things. However, I do not ever need to take part in an experience like this again with Cedric. Now, here's the thing. Well, Cedric and I, and he says it right on the show, right? He says, really, you're going to call me a traitor and vote up for me because I made fun of you and your outfits? He says it right on the show, okay? So people say, I don't get it. What was Lori's problem with Cedric? He said it right on the show. Nobody wants to go into a manor with their little outfits printed out in a journal and have someone make fun of them.
100%.
I really struggled with that part, right? Like, and it was more like he is a comedian, and my goodness, he has some good jokes, but it was really that borderline for me of like, hold on here, this isn't so much comedy for me as a little bit more personal. And I think, you know, I teach kids in kindergarten that stop means stop and no means no, and boundaries are a good thing to have. And so every time Cedric was like, Lori, I don't know why you don't want to work with me, and I was like, I have told you exactly why. Please listen to what I'm saying, right? And I think for Cedric and I, that was just like this constant of him saying like, oh yeah, that's right. You told me to do this, this, and this if we want to work together. And I'm not doing that. So so it was just this chaos for me of just like, I needed to felt heard, and I just never did with him.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense. And it's hilarious, though, that you still had your entire experience for the most part with him.
Totally did. And at the end, like, ultimately, that's what gets him in the end, right? Is that, like, yes, you got to take home $9,500 for being the most, untrustworthy, but who's taking you to fire at that point? I could not put my life in Cedric's hands. So, people are really, kind of processing this whole Kevin vote and everything. It was really had to do with Kevin and Cedric. It's how do I take you to fire and put my life in your hands, Cedric? I couldn't take that chance.
So, Lori, had you been in Cedric's position, had you been the one voted, would you have done the same thing that he did with the money?
Yeah, I think every one of us really went back and just went like, there is no doubt he's going to take that money. When you did the math, when when just all the parts of it. I do remember thinking for a moment that day, like, well, but would I? And it's like, no. Ultimately, I think anybody in his position, it was a smart move, and it ultimately wasn't going to be one that got you eliminated from the game. That isn't why he was gone, right?
No,
we did not vote him out because he took that money. So,
yeah, I think that would have been a harder decision to make if they had to say, you can, your decision now is either put it in and double the pot and keep playing, or take your money and run.
Totally.
That you think about a second time, because you don't want to be out of the game, right? The game is the big thing that you're working towards. So,
and I remember sitting at that dinner table thinking exactly that, Mel. Like, okay, if this is like take the money and you got to go, that's a whole. And did you ask Cedric if he would? If he had to leave the game?
No, I don't know if we.
Because I wonder that.
A lot of words in.
Shocking.
No weird. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, no, I haven't asked him that yet. I'll have to ask him, but just like, because if he had to leave the game at that point, or did he still think he had this final two with Kevin and maybe had a chance? But I don't know.
That's a hard decision. Literally every reality show I've ever seen, Deal or No Deal Island is a big one that comes up. They're always offering people huge money to like leave. Yeah. And the amount of times I've sat as if I'm in the game and been like, I don't know if I could do it.
It depends on how much money, but I think I might take it if it's a guaranteed life-changing amount. Anyways.
Yeah. It really depends.
So with all the challenges that were a part of the game, the missions to win some money, did you have a favorite or a least favorite or both?
I mean, that was the thing of having these weekly viewing parties, right? Like I knew what was coming. And so many of the weeks I was most excited were for the missions. I absolutely loved the landmine mission. I was really excited for my kids to see that one. So that was really exciting. I loved the art one. I mean, you saw me. I don't even know how they got words out of that confessional, because I literally just sat there laughing for like 15 minutes.
Did you get to catch a picture?
I wish I have asked. I'm like, please let me have it. But spoiler alert, next week we're going to send Aaron a little Christmas present from our kindergarten class. I'll post about that later.
I love that. That's really cool.
Well, the bridge. I mean, I knew that when I had gotten so emotional, I wasn't sure if you would see that part, but I knew I had mentioned my kids. So like kudos to CTV for leaving that in, that my kids got to see me say, like, I'm up here thinking of them. I think that was like my most proud moment. And actually, even the last one that I knew I was going to address mental health with that final challenge. So even though I didn't take part in the final mission, I was still looking forward to kind of like people getting that sense of what had happened that day.
Yeah, I love that they kept that in. You
Yeah.
actually explained a little bit on your Instagram story, I think that night or the next day,
Yeah.
about what you were feeling in the car. Did you want to touch on that now and just
Oh,
shed a
sure.
little light?
Yeah. And I mean, really, I say it right in the show, right? Like, I just knew in that moment I had had a previous experience in a vehicle, and I was very much in a vehicle. And so it was just that moment of I'm sitting there and I felt that, from head to toe, anybody that has ever experienced a panic attack, it was something I thought I was over. It was something I've gotten therapy for. It was over 20 years ago. Like, no part of me. I knew, again, because I had taken notes of all the missions. I knew a scary movie type mission was going to be that 9th mission, and nothing prepared me for it. My whole body was overtaken. Luckily, Trana and Lauren and Kevin were there. They recognized what I was going through, and I was just able to say, I can't do this for my own mental health today. And I did. I went and I took the day to just try and get my body back in order. I knew I wanted to go back into the game, but that's the thing about panic, right? Like, it's inconvenient. There's never a convenient time for a panic attack. It was something that totally caught me off guard, but it's something I'm not even a little bit ashamed about, which I think is so interesting to me, that in saying on national TV, I had a panic attack was not scary for me at all. I actually saw it as an opportunity to normalize mental health. And I know I'm not the only one going through it. So I'm really proud of that moment.
Absolutely.
I'm proud
And
of you.
I'm proud of the network just allowing that to be aired, and for us to be able to have these conversations, because if we didn't see it, we wouldn't be talking about it now, and it might not be opening that door for somebody else to be sharing their experiences and know that they're not alone. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for the network for also giving them the platform for these words.
Yeah, kudos to TV.
It's very important too. Like, what you did was, it was really strong. It's really important to recognize that something is happening within your body and then stopping what you're doing or just doing whatever it is you need to do to take care of yourself. Right. So I think
often anybody who suffers from mental health knows you'll push it. You'll push it to the point of no return. If I had done that, my worry is I might not have been able to enter the game again. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that I've had the experience to know, okay, this is how this feels. I'm not going to just push through. That's not healthy. It's not what's best for me. And I can still rebound after. This is temporary and I'm going to be okay.
Good. Well, we are very glad that you did.
So you mentioned that the landmine game was one of your favorites, and it was, I don't know, it was with Kira. I can't remember who you were partnered with, but it was you're Netta. It was with saying that there was somebody that knew each other in the game or whatnot. Now, I'm sure you're watching with your son, who knows about Nick and probably has an idea about Nick and Kira being related. How was that whole experience watching it back with your family, and then, your experience in the game as well with trying to figure that out?
Yeah, I think the landmine one was so interesting to me because if, Netta says, like, I just need to look pretty and I need somebody weak beside me. I was like, whoa, this is not what I expected for this mission. I did not think those were coming my way. What a great opportunity to talk about that in our family, and that, Netta said those things and it did not hurt me. It was okay. It was within the game. Watching all of them back, my son Casey didn't know that Kira was Nick's sister. He didn't know that either. And I think just watching all of those missions, they're all just so empowering, right? Every aspect of them, even when you lose, but you get to watch your mom push a Trojan horse through a field. Like, you know what I mean? Just like every mission that we did was so empowering. And who gets to wake up every day and have like a once in a lifetime experience every day for 10 days of their life? It was so good for us to watch. And you know what? It made me super proud of me. Like, I just could not believe there were so many missions I did that I never could have imagined doing. But I did them. And I think, like, ultimately in the end, that's the beauty of Traitors, is I think I'm just better off in general as a human because of this experience. Like, I have learned so much about myself and so much about community and collaboration and finding my voice, that to me is just the biggest gift of all.
So beautiful. It's like life-changing moments through the Traitors.
So life-changing. Absolutely.
Love that. So, well, how is it actually like working with Karin? Like we see her coming in as this, fiercely dressed and, playing this role. Like, what was your experience with working with her?
What exactly what you think it would be. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Because I was such a huge fan of the show and of Karine from the start. I mean, you saw her shush me in episode 5 with the whole walking to the gold. Oh my gosh. I should get it printed on a t-shirt. Like, I've been shushed by Karine because nobody else gets to wear a shirt like that but me. But no,
get your merch ready.
Yeah, exactly right. No, I love, like, again, another example of a powerful woman, someone who commands presence just by entering the space, her radiance, and like I say, that commanding presence that she had. I loved watching her enter space. Also terrifying. You never know what's coming. But there was a lot of moments of just watching her walk in and thinking like, damn, like what a strong, powerful human being who gets to, come in, tell us all what we're doing. And I think like, she's a beautiful human. She really is a beautiful human. And I have so much respect and so much respect for her.
Are you excited to watch the Quebec version?
I am. We watched the last one with subtitles, but this one we'll be watching with subtitles again. Like, I will, and you know what? Maybe I'll go out and buy a Nissan too, just so I can be like Karine. I will do all the things.
And Jackson Triggs to drink some vino after the car ride.
Yeah.
So we do like to do some rapid fire questions here.
I've been waiting for this moment for 10 weeks.
10 weeks.
Be with you and to do my rapid fire. Let's go.
Okay, well then who's the most manipulative player?
Okay, so this one is the hardest one, and I like that you start with the hardest one. Okay, so there's a few different types of manipulation in my mind, but I am going to say the one that I felt most manipulated by in the end. Sorry, Kevin. I felt a little bit of that at the end. And I mean, I don't think in general, he's a manipulative person or a manipulative human. But in the end, there was just some things that he said that I was like, oh, damn, I feel a little bit.
I mean, it's so true. Well, we see in the show how he says pretty much the exact same thing to you and Trana, and then it all came out. And at the round table, he couldn't really conceal it. And
that grin when you called him out, I was like, "You're caught, buddy."
And that's the hard part about this. Like, even knowing this question was coming, I was like, should I say Kevin's name? I don't want to offend Kevin. Like, do you know what I mean? But it is just a game. And as a human being, oh my gosh, the least manipulative person you could ever find. But in this game, because of the way it ended and because I was so sure he and I were going to final 2 together, that was the biggest manipulation that happened to me in the game.
Yeah.
Who's the loudest?
Oh my gosh, Cedric, come on. Like, there is no doubt he can use anything as a prop. So like anything that's around you, he's just grabbing it and putting on like a full show. You cannot get a word in, as you just learned.
But then who's the funniest?
Oh, Trana. Like, I cannot wait to see what Trana does with life. I cannot wait to just like follow her journey and cheer her on every step of the way. I think she's hilarious. I love her content online. That has been like so much joy. And I must say, Aaron is really funny too. He has a really dry sense of humor, but dang, he has a good sense of humor. He makes me laugh.
Which player would you like to invite to dinner with your family?
Totally easy. So this is what we decided for this question is we get 5 because there's 5 in our family. My daughter Sadie is choosing Lauren because she's the biggest Lauren. We had a Go Lauren banner in our house instead of a Go Lori banner. She loves Lauren. Casey is choosing Nick, of course, and I would love to have Nick to dinner because I feel like I didn't get to know him a lot in the house, so that would be amazing. Molly is choosing Trana, which is great for me. I'm choosing Dylan, and Cody's going to choose Kevin to thank Kevin for all he did do in the game for me.
Oh, amazing. That'd be a
I
great
love that you
dinner.
guys all got together and picked out.
We knew
your
this
dinner
was
day.
coming. We are prepared. We are prepared.
And you
Love
can
it.
possibly make that happen, which is pretty cool.
Right? Exactly. Hey, I'm inviting them all to Alberta. I figure we can get everyone here at some
Oh,
point.
for sure.
Which player would make the best spy?
Aaron, like, boy is shady as shit. Like, I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, I think Aaron would be a fantastic spy, flying under the radar. Just, I don't know. There's something about him. And maybe he is a spy. Have we asked him? Because it's probably in his list of things that he's previously done.
Yeah.
I don't
wouldn't
think
be
he said that,
shocking.
but I think he even might have said himself would make the best spy. He
Yes.
might have said.
Yeah, I'm glad he can honor it in himself.
And out of the faithfuls, who would be the worst traitor ever?
So, I mean, I have a couple of ideas around this one. I don't think Dylan would have made a good faith or a good traitor. I think that that would have been a hard role because he just is kind of traitorish in life. So I worry he would have been sussed out really fast. And Nick, Nick, the most pure, kind-hearted human I've ever met in my life.
Totally.
Yeah,
And lastly, in hindsight, who was the most trustworthy player?
Okay, this one I've also debated back and forth on, but I'm going to go way back to night one, and I'm going to give Chris a shout out because there was something so authentic and pure about Chris that I cannot stop thinking about how he would have played this game. Like, he was just very authentic and very real. So we don't know if he would have been a faithful or a traitor, but I think that in the end, literally I could have seen from night one, I could have seen going a really far way. He's actually coming to visit my kindergarten class on Monday to teach us about hippopotamus. Like, he's just a really stand-up dude. And I think that we would have gone really far together in this game.
Yeah.
We were joking in the beginning that we need an episode where he's, not wearing any clothes. And you got to trust the naked guy, right?
The whole time. It was very disappointing.
Right. Yeah. I hope he gets another shot because I'd love to see him play this game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, of course, thank you so much, Lori, for being here. Mel B, do you have any final questions for Lori?
I do. I want to know if they let you keep your funeral egg salad sandwich dress. And how often do you wear it? Because you love
Mel B. Okay, they did me dirty, didn't they? Come on, everybody else, prom king and prom queen over here, and I'm the grandma with the brooch. Like, I'll post a video later just for you, Mel B, of my mom laughing at that outfit. I had told her that it was coming, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, it is way worse than even what you described." No, I do not own the outfit. No, I will not be wearing it again. I'm 44, not 84.
So when I will say, because I don't know if we've discussed this yet, because me and Chantele haven't recapped the last episode, but when they had said, I've picked out an outfit for you, I was thinking like, oh, they are going to get the best outfits. And then cut to the mission, and you've got Netta. Netta's got like this big, gorgeous gown. And then I looked and I went, what did they do to everybody else? They put her on a pedestal, and they just gave everybody else these. So yeah, I feel you.
Okay, thank you.
If anybody can work it, you worked it. But
I mean, by the end, as you're trying to run in that, you can barely breathe as you're trying to barrel it to the cemetery. Oh my gosh. But, it made memories. Again, we just got more memories to be made.
It made for some good TV.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Lori. If you have any final thoughts or words that you'd like to say, the floor is yours.
I really just feel like, I know probably everybody's ending this way in gratitude, and even in gratitude for all of y'all who just promote the show and let us process and talk about it and have as much love for it as we do. I just think that that's the definition of community, right? It's all of us coming together with this mutual love for something and championing it and cheering it on and cheering the people involved on. So I'm cheering you on just as hard as you cheered me on. Thank you so much for all you've done. And I hope we get to chat again for some reason someday.
Easy peasy. We'll make that happen for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lori.